This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 unit sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
Okay, Top Tribe, this week's winner of the $100 that I give away every Monday is Kim Dust. She's in the entertainment industry and is currently working a full-time day job and doing her side hustle on the side. Kim, congrats. For you, here's a chance to win $100 every Monday. Simply subscribe to the podcast on iTunes now and then text the word Nathan to 33444 to officially enter. Again, text the word Nathan to 33444 after you've subscribed. Many people ask me what tool I used to sell my first company, Heyo. The answer is thetopinbox.com. I used it to send emails, schedule emails to be sent out later, and set reminders inside my inbox so I would know when potential buyers were actually interested, and I easily remember to follow up with ones that hadn't replied to me. You can try it for free at thetopinbox.com. Nathan Latka here. This is episode 536. Coming up tomorrow morning, you're going to learn from Justin McGill and how he raised $150,000. Then his CTO left. Now he's cruising at $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue with his company LeadFuse. Top Tribe, good morning. Nathan Latka here. Our guest today is Mark Godley. He has held leadership positions at technology companies of all different sizes, from pre-revenue to publicly traded. He's best known for driving revenue that significantly outpaces industry growth while rejecting herd mentality that really is thought of throughout the entire industry. He breaks many of these molds. Mark is equally proud of his accomplishments outside of work, finding time daily to read, work out, and cook, all while being an engaged father, spouse, and citizen. Mark, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely. That guy sounds pretty interesting.
Let's have some fun. All right. Tell us what HGData does and how you guys generate revenue.
HGData is in the competitive intelligence space, whatever that means. To break it down, we build data sets used by sales and marketing teams to do precision targeting at scale is the phrase we use. So the general gist of what we're trying to accomplish is the days of mass marketing from a B2B perspective are over. People are expecting you to know something about them, their company, before you reach out. And we provide information that we believe allows people to do that at a scale never before possible.
And when did you launch? What year was the company launched in?
I am not the founder. Craig Harris founded the company in 2012 after a prior exit. He had built a similar company in the philanthropic space, realized that for-profit companies had a lot more money. He sold the prior brand and customer base to Blackbaud, a CRM company, maintained the underlying IP, and decided to be a greedy capitalist by applying the same methodologies to the B2B arena.
What a beautiful thing. I love greedy capitalism. So, Mark, you, just to be clear, you are not the founder or CEO, but you are the CRO today, right? The Chief Revenue Officer?
Yes, I have a fancy title that not even I'm sure I know what it means. It's one of those Silicon Valley buzzwords,
well,
CRO.
We love money, so you could argue, many people would say the CRO is actually more interesting to talk to than the CEO, right? That's where everything happens.
Fair enough. To be specific about what I do, I handle all the market-facing functions for the company, which includes sales, marketing, product, service, all but engineering. And, one could argue, given what I do manage to some degree indirectly, engineering is highly influenced by me as well.
Great. So walk us through some of the economics of the business today. How many customers are you currently serving here in December 2016?
Customers. So that's an very interesting topic that I hope we delve into a little bit more. When the company was founded, it served largely the enterprise space, which is very different for early stage startup companies. So we started selling to companies like HP, IBM, et cetera. And only in the last year or so have we started to go down market. To be very specific, because I know you're a guy that's going to pull those out of me sooner or later, we have about 15 to 20 enterprise clients. By enterprise clients, I mean folks that are spending mid six figures with us. Again, the likes of the IBMs, the HPs of the world.
Is that six figures annually, Mark?
Absolutely. Yeah. Recurring revenue model. Yeah. And then the other traditional customer we've had is OEM partners who use our data set as part of their product. And those folks are names like the Data.coms of the world, the Discover.orgs of the world, the Dun & Bradstreets of the world, the predictive vendors like Lattice Engines and Lead Spaces and these kind of folks. We have about 50 of those. They spend about high five figures, so $80 to $100,000 with us annually. And then what's most interesting is we've really transitioned from being a data company to a product company in the last year or so by offering UIs and skins on top of our data for the mid-market companies that don't have the internal teams to onboard third-party data sets. And we probably have 100 to 125 of those with an average ASP of about 25 grand. So you add all that up, which I know you're trying to do as
annual sales price, ASP?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That all adds up to, we'll finish the year somewhere between 10 and $12 million, which is, we've doubled the business each of the last 4 years. So if you roll that back, it was 1.5 million, then 3, then 6, and now 10 to 12.
Guys, don't you love it when I have a guest on that's listened to the show? It's like I don't even have to be here. I just let Mark, you just talk to the microphone and just give it to my people. You know all the questions I'm going to ask. All right, funny. So you'll finish here in 2016 with around 10 to 12, and you said you did about 6 million in 2015?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So break down that revenue in 2015, you said was more top heavy, and your hope is in 2016, 2017, you're going to kind of go increase the customer base, but lower ARPUs?
Exactly. So when I came into the business a couple of years ago, and largely was responsible for putting the go-to-market strategy in place, again, it was these large enterprise clients. And honestly, I thought this was a great problem to have, because most SaaS companies start with selling to their buddies that are other VC-backed companies that don't have a lot of revenue or budgets, and then they eventually try to leapfrog into enterprise. We've done the exact opposite, in that we have a very, very secure enterprise client base. I can throw out that silly Silicon Valley term of negative churn.
Yep.
All of them come back and actually spend more money with us. And what we're now endeavoring to do is I would say make the use of that data that we sell, which is hundreds of millions of rows of data, much more usable by a 25-year-old BDR, 2 years out of college, or much more usable by a marketing coordinator. So we've created use case specific experiences, and we're selling, rather than selling the data, we're selling subscriptions to those UIs, and that's why the ASP is coming down from 6 figures down to, frankly, low 5 figures in the $20,000 range.
Well, any of this, like if a big company that's paying you, let's call it $100,000, they signed a 2-year contract, so they're paying you 200 grand on that. If they see you introduce lower pricing, do they call you and go, hey, give me the lower price? Like, does this cannibalize any of your revenue?
So therein is the tricky balance we're trying to walk. Matter of fact, it's not just the large enterprise customers, Nathan. Keep in mind what I said earlier. It's also the OEM partners.
Yep.
Matter of fact, if I get real specific, I'll tell you that 50% of our revenue is direct clients. The other 50% is partners. Those partners that are about 50% of our revenue.
Wait, and hold on. Those partners, sorry, those partners are people like Full Contact, Discover.org.
Not Full Contact specifically, but that ilk, those type of companies.
Okay.
So here's the tricky challenge. They are selling into the mid-market and OEM space directly. So how do I enter that market without cannibalizing them? That's what I worry more about, because at the enterprise space, the product is differentiated. They have access to columns of data and longitudinal analysis that the mid-market has no interest in. So those big boys see that we're introducing mid-market products. It really doesn't apply to their use case. What I'm worried about is how can I double in 2017 without pissing off all my partners and saying we're going after their clients? That's the rub that, frankly, we're in the process of trying to figure out.
What's your gut tell you how you're going to do that right now? I know it's not perfect.
Well, I come from a background where cannibalization and channel conflict is what a VP of sales spends 30% of his or her time on, and it's a freaking nightmare. Mm-hmm. What I'm really intrigued about at HGData is those OEM partners, they actually don't use our data in a client facing way. They use our data as an ingredient to predictive work, scoring work, filtering work, where our data is not exposed directly to their client. And so what I'm hoping happens, Nathan, is we introduce products that don't compete with them, but actually can sit side by side in that enormous sales and marketing stack that's been created, and will actually end up collaborating and helping each other. So for instance, when a client buys my HG Focus Chrome extension and says, this is great, can you score my leads with it? I can say to them, no, I don't, but go work with one of my partners that actually has already done that for you.
Got it.
That's the hope. Let's do this interview a year from now. If I'm still sitting in this chair, probably means we've been successful.
We'll see what happens. Yep. Very good. Okay, let's get into some more of the unit economics. Let's focus just on your enterprise sector to make it simpler. So you said you did about 6 million in 2015. You'll finish out 2016 between 10 and 12 million. What's each kind of a customer paying you on average per month or per year, whatever's easier?
So we do it annually, Nathan. That's so on average, $250,000. Now that's very misleading, because the way these enterprise clients evolve is they will start with us in year one with some kind of business unit or specific pilot of sorts that typically they're spending $50,000 to $100,000 on. That's the proving ground of our data. Once they see that it performs incredibly well, by the time you go from a pilot to the first annual subscription, the first annual subscription is probably saying, I want all your data in North America for $250,000. They then use it and say, wow, that was pretty cool. Our ROI was significant on that. What do you have in EMEA? What do you have in APAC? What do you have in LATAM? And so what happens over time, and that gets to that silly negative churn phrase I used earlier, is our renewals on our enterprise accounts go from 250 to 500 to 750 to we have accounts over $1 million that they're spending with us in year 3 and 4.
Good. Okay, so if you had to tally up a total customer base, you said 15 to 20 enterprise. About how many OEMs?
Probably 50.
Okay, so you have around 100 customers.
Well, so a little bit more than that, because I mentioned the last year we've gone into the mid-market, and we've acquired somewhere between 80 and 100. I was on an airplane this morning, so I actually couldn't go into Salesforce and pull it directly, but somewhere between 80 to 100 in the mid-market at that $27,000 ASP.
And December,
200 customers directly is the number I think you should be comfortable with telling your listeners about. And then again, the OEM partners, I got 50 of them. They're using our data across hundreds of customers. And they're actually to some degree building our brand and building the market for our competitive intelligence data by using it in there.
So Mark, closing out kind of 2016 here, December, or you probably have a good guess of what MRR is this month. What is it?
I actually don't follow MRR. And again, I'm not just being annuals. What's that?
You only follow the annual contract renewals.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage of our company's growth, we just closed our B round of funding earlier this year. It's all about expansion. 12 and change. Our total funding through the B round, I think, is 24 grand.
Million.
I'm sorry, 24 million. Yeah, imagine that, 24 grand.
You're on a source salary.
We're focused really about building this new space. We are losing money by design. We expect to be cash flow positive if things go as planned by 2018, and we have enough cash to get there with a lot in the bank. So honestly, we don't look at MRR as much as we look at ARR. ARR, is going to be somewhere north of that 10 million if the next 3 weeks of contracts in Redline right now go as planned.
And what about don't count upsell revenue? What is your gross annual customer churn?
So how do you want me to calculate it in number of customers?
Exactly. Is this an important number for you guys? If you don't know it, maybe it's not important.
No, it's less than 10%. We've been incredibly fortunate that we have close to no churn, no matter if you look at revenue churn or client churn. Now, interesting, go look at one of the posts. I did a blog post about 2 months ago about, let me give you a real specific. We've had one 6-figure churn in the last 4 years. So you do the math on that. Yeah, we may lose a $10,000, $12,000 customer here or there, but in aggregate, it's not very meaningful against the overall base of business.
What are you willing to spend to acquire a customer?
Well, we're trying to bring that down. So given that most of our business has been that high 5-figure and low 6-figure or mid 6-figure number, most of our sales team, which right now is about 10-ish people of our 80 total employees, we're paying these people
North
OTE,
of 150?
Definitely north of 150. And
North of
obviously,
250?
What's that?
North of 250?
For the ones that are performing, yes. Probably not for the average. Okay, so we're looking 2 to 250 on a whale hunter of sorts.
Yep.
But as you move down market, those numbers don't play out. So we're building an inside BDR team ourselves. We're looking at more of a high velocity sales model. And we're hoping that the product is so good and we design it so well that we can, bring in a $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 type early career inside sales rep and just scale the hell out of this.
So, Mark, what is current CAC?
I actually don't know that. I'm not being
north of what? Just give me a range. What do you think it's definitely north of?
Nathan, I totally honestly don't know. If you had Craig on it, he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know either. We need our CFO for that.
Well, how do you? Okay. I mean, obviously it's important because you said we have to get it down immediately when I ask the question. So it's too high.
Well, I know it's too high because you don't find $250,000 sales reps selling $25,000 products.
Got it. Okay, good. Makes sense. Where are you guys based? You got a team of 80. Where are you at?
The company is based out of Santa Barbara, a beautiful place to work. I live in San Francisco and Silicon Valley and come down weekly. Of the 80 people, most of them are here. There's a little bit of a Silicon Beach thing going on here with a couple other really successful tech companies that are finding refugees from the Bay Area or people from LA that are sick of entertainment that know how to code, that want to come up and live in paradise.
Awesome. Hey, Mark, where's the best place for folks to connect with you online if they want to watch you keep building this thing?
Probably LinkedIn or on Twitter. Godley21 is my personal handle.
Folks, I may have to stop doing the podcast. I will tell you why. I have found a business and I'm ready to go all in. It's the one I want to take public by the time I turn 30. It's called thetopinbox.com. And here's why I know it's going to be big, very big. There are so many other companies charging way too much for this right now. Yesware, ToutApp, Boomerang. That's to do things like send later reminders and auto follow-ups for salespeople inside of your Gmail inbox. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it for free. We have so many people using it. It's growing so fast. And we do many of the things that salespeople love. We don't require people to leave the inbox to go log into a website. It's so simple to use. And I have to tell you, salespeople are like drooling over this thing. They're like licking the drool off their keyboard. They're loving this thing so much. Thetopinbox.com. Go install it now. Use it for free, people. Okay, I like you because you're listeners. Use it for free before I decide to start charging for it. Go right now to thetopinbox.com. Okay, Top Tribe, I have to tell you, many people go, Nathan, you came out of nowhere. Your website's growing so fast. How'd you do it? The answer is simple. So I use HostGator. I don't know if you guys know that, but I use HostGator. And the reason I do, they have like about 4,500 free templates I can use because I don't code. They've got a great e-commerce plugin. And guys, I bug the heck out of their support. They've got 24/7 support, which I love. So what I've done is I've worked with them. You guys know I make great deals. If you go to hostgator.com/Nathan, you can sign up, get your own domain for 30% off and a 45-day money-back guarantee. Okay, again, I make great deals for you guys. Go to hostgator.com/Nathan to grab that now. All right, Top Tribe, we'll link to that in the show notes at nathanlatka.com/the-top536. Again, /the-top536. Mark, let's wrap up with the famous five. These are one-word answers. You ready?
One word is tough for me, but I'll try.
All right. Number one, what's your favorite business book?
I don't read business books. I think the world's much too interesting for that. I am reading right now a book called Devil in the White City by Eric Larson. Fantastic historical novelist.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following right now?
The folks in the startup community of MarTech and Sales Tech are folks that I watch pretty closely. And two guys that I would suggest you reach out to maybe talk to that I think are doing amazing work would be Henry Schuck of Discover.org and Jonathan Stern of ZoomInfo.
And we had, if you guys want to check out Henry, we had him on back on the 18th of December. That's nathanlatka.com/the-top512. They just passed $70 million in ARR at Discover.org.com. Who was the second one?
Scrappy dude.
Who was the second? What was the second one?
Jonathan Stern.
Okay.
Jonathan Stern of ZoomInfo.
Very good. Number three, is there a favorite online tool you have?
So on the personal level, I use Flipboard and Stitcher daily. You'll appreciate Stitcher.
Yep.
On the business perspective, I use GaggleAmp to allow our employee base to amplify our social coverage. And then lead forensics is one we're bringing on board that we have high hopes for, to do reverse IP lookup to convert unknown visitors to known visitors on our website.
Number 4, yes or no, do you get 8 hours of sleep every night?
I had three daughters in diapers over a decade ago, so the answer would be no. 6 hours. I get up at 5 a.m. I wish I could sleep on less.
And how old are you today?
I'm 47 years old.
All right, so last question, Mark. Take us back 27 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
So I actually think I've won the lottery of life. If the implication of that question is what would you do differently, I actually have no regrets. That being said, general advice I would give any 20-year-old, living below your means gives you tons of options. Think about your life you want at age 50 and work backwards. We're running a marathon, not a sprint. It takes planning, sacrifice, and resilience. And then don't define success or happiness by your paycheck.
There you guys have it from Mark Godley, CRO at HGData. They're serving around 200 customers. They've raised $24 million, did $6 million in 2015 revenue. We'll break the $10 million mark here in 2016. CAC and ARPU and all that right now is focused on enterprise. They are moving down market to service more people with their back-end data set with a team of 80 people based in Santa Barbara. Mark, thank you for taking us to the top. If you enjoyed Mark today, go back and listen to Dominique yesterday. He's a 24-year-old founder, but now he's a venture capitalist at Hummingbird VC in Europe.
Hey, Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google Ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google right when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan. Okay, Top Tribe, I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. And don't forget, before you listen to any other episodes, subscribe on iTunes right now for your chance to win $100 every Monday.